Hey everybody, what it do? UFC 307 is officially in the books. For many reasons, this card is going to haunt me in my sleep. There's some of the worst judging, some of the worst officiating I've ever seen in the MMA space. And I'm not just talking UFC, I'm talking like amateur, regional. Why in the fuck were they there? Who were these people? I'm literally going to do an investigation tomorrow. I mean, this something's going on here. Nonetheless, I'm going to break down through the entire card, starting at the early prelim, give my overall reaction. Kicking things off, Courtney McGee versus Tim Means. McGee showed up, local, was used to the elevation, wanted to show up Utah, had a really amazing performance. Tim Means is not easy to finish. Most his fights go to decision, 17 of 20. At the UFC alone have done this, so very impressive to see the first round submission by McGee. Get that one wrong. So we get that one wrong. Moving on. Carla Esparza versus Tisha Pennington. I had Esparza winning by decision. First round came out. Thought she won it. Looked good with her wrestling. Put some damage on. Tisha comes back, wins the second. Third was a close one. 4 out of 7 successful takedowns with Esparza. But look at the striking here. She did have overall, just not in damage, not in significant strikes. But at the very least, with the control time, takedowns, I would give Esparza the draw. But that's at the very least. In my mind, at the moment, I'm like, what the fuck? She should have won that fight. Whole crowd booing, by the way, for Pennington. Everyone thought Esparza won as well. Really touching, another retirement video put together, just like they did for the Karate Hottie Gomez. So happy to see this for Esparza. Well-deserved. Happy retirement. I think I got a few cards I'll post eventually. Moving up the card, Brian Spann gets his impressive first-round finish. However, it wasn't by knockout as predicted by myself and many others. He's got a mean guillotine. Hurt St. Preux. Jumped in, latched it, sank it. All she wrote. Nasty submission. Saw a couple people hit some big props on that. It was like plus 1,500 for first round submission, so that was a nice hit. You're going to want to grab something for this next fight. You had Ewart versus Almeida, and I can't fucking believe that this fight happened the way it did. You had this ref I've never seen before in the UFC. I've never seen this motherfucker. I swear I'm doing a research video tomorrow. I'm tinfoil hatting. He's paid by Vegas. Something fucking is going on. I don't know who this guy is. But he somehow allowed Ewart to get kicked in the dick by Almeida, a very good kickboxer with knockout resume. Kicked in the dick, not stopped. Then I poked her. Sorry, I had that opposite. He was eye poked and then kicked in the dick, and they finally gave him time, but he couldn't see. And I already had somebody say, well, thank God he was trying to separate him. That fight sucked. Dude, it wasn't much of a fight when you're blind and kicked in the dick 5 times. I'm sorry, but there was like 4 eye pokes, 3 or 4 groin shots. Where the fuck are the points being deducted, the final warnings given, and the DQ? I'm sick of this fucking shit. The fact that it's even a prop that someone out there is paying is fucking horrendous. That shit hits like probably once every 5 years. The officials don't have a uniform structure to critique fight, and the judges especially don't have a uniform grading criteria that they at least all are informed of, trained on, audited to, and fucking abide, period. Like, this is some of the most inconsistent pick and choose judging in the last, few years that it's always been a problem. Yes, it goes way, way back. Yes, it does. But motherfuckers are just so bad. Look at the technology around the world, the online judging, the fact that we could expand to 5 to roll out of 2 fucking idiots on a card that don't know what they're doing. And I had to stop myself there. Please don't ever hire 5 people equivalent to the quality of the ones we already have. That will just make me go through the fucking roof. So yeah, what we're about to get into now is, I had to black out the video so I don't get demonetized, but here's basically my thoughts on this fight as it's happening.
Yo, who the fuck is this ref? No point deduction. 5 fucking eye pokes, 3 or 4 dick kicks, breaking up people, engaging in clinching. Who is this guy?
Who the fuck was that guy?
He's gonna break this up, I bet too. Screaming at him to be busy.
New clinch. Just
You gotta
to
let him
feet.
fight, you stupid fuck.
Walks
it's an
in.
octagon.
Separates him. And so yeah, nothing new. The announcers are basically dismissing this guy prior to the fight even being over, contemplating and saying all the things that I am right now and had said. And, I think it was like Joe Rogan or DC trying to calm John Anik down because he's just so fucking irritated that the fight's gone this way. And you gotta remember, it's not like a solid contract. It's a show up and a show out contract. And so when you get a fight that from the very beginning, from bell to whistle, is just ludicrous because things aren't being followed by, goes to a decision, points are now a factor, and there's been no point deduction at all during what we had just seen from Almeida, is so fucked up. And I hope Dana makes it right. Next fight for me was kind of a pick'em. Austin Hubert, Alexander Hernandez. When you see these guys in the octagon, it's easy to look at Hernandez and be like, oh yeah, man, great strength, longer distance covered with his striking. He's got a decent jab. Kind of just picks some prods on you. Significant strikes. I mean, his accuracy is just not good. Neither is Hubert's. He spent a lot of his time and energy getting stuffed. Didn't get a single takedown at 12 attempts. Yeah, Hernandez wins that fight. I think Hubert gets Alex down. Could look really good for him. I could see him maintaining a lot of that control. But he's not really setting up his strikes the best to open up his opportunities for that. He's just kind of panic wrestling. And, Austin's tough. He's eating a lot of shit. Honestly, what I love about the lightweight division, to me, it's the biggest car crash division in UFC. It just seems to be that weight class where people can just dish it, eat it, and you get more exciting fights. I'm excited to see the Charles fight with Chandler. I'm excited to see Gaethje come back. I think Gaethje should fight the winner of that, personally. Because either one of those rematches would be sick with Gaethje. Anyways, I'm getting out fucking right here. Next on the card, we had Luciendo versus Rodriguez. I had Rodriguez. Again, another kind of one of those coin flip fights for me. Striking was about identical. Where they differed, the takedown attempts. Luciendo had bit more control time, takedowns. She edges it, simple decision. Moving up, best card, the prelim, one of the best cards of the whole fights of the whole night. Joaquin Buckley, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Many of us going to this fight expect New Manson to show up, be smarter, be more technical in terms of using his toolkit. Huge physique, and somehow is able to cut the weight and look good for 3 rounds. Love to see what he could do more at 5 rounds at this weight class. Going into this fight, I am respecting Wonder Boy's ability to survive. Use the edge of the octagon, that space. He's good about working off the edges, keeping his distance, stuffing the takedowns, working off the side to the cage, peeling out. Wonder Boy does a great job. He's peppering in some nice elbows early on. Guys like Kevin, yeah, they strike their opportunities. Joaquin Buckley, they hit their big shots that sometimes set Wonder Boy up, but his ability to recover, his resilience, I think, is part of his part of why everyone views him as one of the most successful all-time karate-style fighters in MMA history, UFC history. It's very cool to see. Unfortunately for him, didn't happen the way he wanted it to. I did have Joaquin Buckley. Lot of predictions to decision. I did as well. I knew the submission would be hard for Buckley to hunt. He's more of a striker who's using his wrestling to set up some ground and pounds and, disorient and wear and tire. Joaquin Buckley's stamina was pretty good. He's cutting the weight. You got to keep that in consideration. He's cutting the weight and his stamina's looking really good, but he was starting to gas. And I said that Wonder Boy going into later rounds, like 3rd round, would be his best opportunity to take New Mansa, who maybe just emptied the gas tank, trying to burn, and finding his opportunity to technically pick apart, TKO, knockout. But man, it came right down to the end. Joaquin Buckley charged up and hit some jumping fucking toad strike, and I absolutely lost my shit. He's part of a few of the most interesting knockouts you'll see in UFC history. So Joaquin Buckley adds another one to the resume. Gets to do it against Wonderboy, which looks just so fucking good for any of these knockout artists. And yeah, amazing fight. Give Friday night bonus there. I think it's deserved. I think both of those guys deserve a bonus for this one. It's one of the only fights we got to really watch and not be upset because of the judges or have a ref fuck off too much. It was a great fight, and again, it was one of the ones I was looking forward to the most. So much love, Wonderboy, and I'm happy I didn't see them gloves come off because I know you still got work to do. And Joaquin Buckley, keep getting the work done. It was a pleasure meeting you at 300, and you're looking incredible at welterweight, and I'm excited to see what you can do. I also like to call out with Usman. I also think that you and Jack might be a good dance partner together. Both of you guys can rumble. Both of you got some power in your hands, and let's see another guy who is more technical like Wonder Boy, but he's got the power that can do the same kind of damage to you. So let's see what's going on. Let's work. Moving on to the main card. Holy shit, Kayla Harrison. I gotta pick right, like a -1,000 prop. Did surprisingly see her win by decision. I had submission and knockout double method. She doesn't typically see a judge. Props on Ketlin. Obviously the jiu-jitsu background allowed her to survive longer in the fight than I anticipated otherwise. The elbows opening up was beautiful. Wish it could have happened more often, sooner. I could have seen Harrison hitting that TKO finish earlier, just full mount, slamming those elbows down, getting her to turn. But surprised she really wasn't hunting for submissions, Kayla Harrison. I did assume if she was to win by knockout or submission, likely more going to be submission, despite Ketlin hasn't been submitted yet in her pro career. I think it's safe to say Harrison's going to be a future champ, so excited to see what happens. I hope she gets the belt, gets Amanda Nunes, come out of retirement, have that be just some crazy fight. Who knows, whether it be 135 or 145. Moving up the card, Roman Dolidze with the upset against Kevin Holland. It's wild. I expected Dolidze by submission. They got into a deep grapple exchange on the ground. I could see Dolidze doing his number there. Holland I expected to win more so by knockout or decision. Winning the fight on the feet, staying at range, being able to absorb everything. Holland got full mounted, was on the ground, taking some vicious shots, surviving like he does, being tough, talking to him, looks like, talking to Dolidze, eating elbows, big heavy shots. Looks like he broke his rib. That's what, made his coaches stop the fight. Good on them. I don't think it was a bad stoppage. Holland's one of those guys who's too tough for his own good. Typically we see him fight, beyond what he should, and then he's out further, and the guy likes to stay active, so no reason to sustain even further injury. Dolidze had you on the ground and really took it to you. Was very surprised to see that first round knockout. Are you out of shit yet? Because, man, we got another one of these fights we got to talk about. These fucking refs and these judges. I can't fucking believe this shit. Y'all know Jose Aldo has one of the greatest takedown defenses in UFC history. Up against the side of the octagon, much like with Merab, taking in very few shots, not a lot of damage behind him. They're somehow peppering in as these significant strikes, when in sincerity, the only thing significant hitting Aldo was the Conor McGregor shoulders at times. Mario was hugging an old fucking 40-year-old man legend, up against the side of the octagon, pursuing no finishes, advancing no positions, and they gave him the fucking fight. Aldo finding opportunities, peeling off, piecing up Mario. Mario doesn't want anything to do with it. Panic wrestles, again, 0 for 10 takedowns, and Aldo's actually applying more damage to Mario. Mario's eating some of these shots, he's bleeding, he's drawing blood. Aldo is fine. He's taken no fucking damage. Again, he's being hugged. The only damage he was really receiving was the shoulder strikes off the clinch, off the side of the octagon. So, I just I was very surprised. Again, although fighting the guy in the first place, not the best of matchmaking, don't quite understand it. Mario's got a lot to prove to other guys who are also fresh in the division, top 10. I know I've said it a few times earlier, but we are definitely investigating this shit tomorrow. We're going to look into the judges, look into the refs. At the end of the day, was the fight close? Sure. Absolutely it was. I just don't see how you give it to Mario. Hugging somebody up against the side of the octagon is bullshit. And it's so ironic that the refs who come in to replace don't know how to break up a stall. Like, those weren't advanced positions. We weren't doing damage. We were stalling. Stalling Aldo because Aldo was applying damage and winning the fight against Mario. We could have actually used that guy from earlier. I'm not going to lie. He should have broke that shit up a few times. Anyways, moving on. Raquel Pennington, Julia Pena. Great fight. Both women back and forth. Another close one. I do edge it for Pennington. I think her striking was obviously more superior. Pena had opportunities. Trying to get the chokes off on Pennington. Trying to wrestle. A lot of the time with her grappling was just spent not really doing a lot to Pennington. You're not applying a lot of damage. You only got a few attempts really at this submission thing. So when I look at it, I do slightly edge the fight again for Pennington. I think she was popping off. They were both exchanging. They both were rocking each other. But as far as the most reaction received from any of the shots, I gotta say Juliana Pena didn't handle it the best compared to Raquel. And close fight. Just thought the judges had that one off. So Juliana wins that as well. Moving on to the main card. Alex Poatan-Pereira versus Khalil Roundtree Jr. It starts off just like it always do. Walking right down to that octagon. Step by step. Finding that range even in his walkout because he's such a brilliant striker like that. Alex Poatan hands of stone. Ain't fucking around. Got the job done. Had more significant strikes. The knockdown prop bet hits because, Khalil did technically get dropped at the end despite these dudes were trading and smacking the shit out of each other. So that hit. Had the knockout under 4.5 rounds. Distance was a tough one there. I liked the prop on the over 1.5, but I still stayed away with it. I'd rather start later in the card under 3.5, under 4.5. But again, could not believe how resilient Roundtree was. The fact that they were both in these moments, in the pocket, trading on each other. Poatan's got a much better chin at 205 than he ever did at middleweight. And again, I know the game of possum, that little bit of that element was surprise when Poatan was getting caught by Izzy. The thing that really put this guy out for a matter of minutes till he could even semi-recover. You can't tell me that Roundtree ain't packing more power than that. It's just that Poatan's able to have a lot of the space to avoid. And I like to call it earlier in the fight, hearing that, Roundtree's road to success is backing Poatan up, not allowing him as much room to evade, and he can't slip the edge of your punches and roll away with the ones that do hit. And, seeing Roundtree and how good he looked early in the fight, does he have a chance in this fight if they were to ever run it back down the road? Absolutely. Roundtree has a better chance than I think people were giving him going into this fight. But at the end of the day, I knew that Poatan would hurt him, find his opportunity, pick him apart. Now, I'm very surprised to see Poatan struggle to resume to the calf kicks leading up to this opportunity, which really had Roundtree hurt, the knees, the work to the body. Round was so hurt and keeping that guard high every time Poatan would come in or even do anything, guard high, consider the feint, throw a liver kick, work to the body. I was screaming to the top of my fucking lungs to go to the body, and he just wouldn't do so. Until the final combo, which was literally to the body, that just folded Roundtree. And Roundtree had opportunities early in the fight with his own kick that bounced Poatan off the sides of the octagon, the cage. It was really a nice exchange of fights. This is definitely the most exciting fight we've ever seen with Poatan so far. Someone who could actually test him in terms of having it be a nice fight where things are active, things are being exchanged. Yeah, Izzy beat Poatan, but if you look at that fight, Izzy was winning on points and being very safe and guarded and well protected, and the calf kicks ate up to him, had him rolling around trying to evade Poatan. That's how he got caught. Says he was logging into the Matrix. We all know his ass would have got knocked the fuck out. And obviously it makes a difference, the cut, right? Poatan being able to fill that 205, not go through the crazy weight cut that practically drains and kills him. His energy, his stamina, his durability, it's all going to change going at 205. And that was just a weight class Izzy was never going to be able to fill properly. And so, interested to see what happens here with Poatan. I still like the fight with Carlos Ulberg coming up. As a great potential prospect. I think Poatan's got to prove to me and the rest of the world with a matchup like Magomed Ankalaev. Shut this guy down. Stuff his takedowns. Work your own ground and pound. Just show us something from a guy who's willing to challenge you in a new area that we just don't see you ever in. And if you can verify that, if you can pass that test, and now we start talking about heavyweight. Now we start talking about the move up to be the first triple champ of all time, middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight against likely Tom Aspinall. So definitely going to be kind of playing around some matchmaking, thinking about like hypothetically if so-and-so wins this fight, then who's next. So kind of be one step ahead of the curve there. Got some cards on the way. These were two recent hits. A little harder to see with the lighting, of course. This is a white sparkle. Justin Gaethje, known as. I love this. I don't have a lot of white sparkles, and I believe they're out of 25, although not officially numbered. So pretty cool to have an insert on one of my favorite guys there. And got some rookies on Hamza. I thought it was nice to pick up a nice graded one. Looks like somebody just wanted something back. Hyper Prism, PSA 9. A little more than the cost of the grade itself. About 25 or 30 bucks with the shipping included. And, yeah, just nice hit. Now, the 10s go for a pretty penny, so I don't mind just having a 9 just to have it for the price. And without spoiling much, I got some big things coming in the world of UFC trading cards. We got the official Topps Knockout, and I just participated in my first case break. Was occurring right around the fights. Got my payment in right at the end as it was due. I was trying to get Whaley at the very end. Missed it. Missed a couple others. You know how it is when the predictions are going off during the fights. You got to maintain your auctions, and I was trying to find my balance right. So we ended up eating pretty good on that case. First real jump into the series. I do want to get eventually my own mini. Maybe my own hobby box. It'd be like a fun like birthday / Christmas like request just to get one. And, yeah, I'm not going to spoil shit. I got some great cards coming. I'm absolutely stoked to have these things in my hands, and definitely going to be getting a couple of these things graded. So let's go. Hope you enjoyed your fight nights. Much love. And obviously it makes a difference, the cut, right? Poatan being able to fill that 205, not go through the crazy weight cut that practically drains and kills him. His energy, his stamina, his durability, it's all going to change going at 205. And that was just a weight class Izzy was never going to be able to fill properly. And so, interested to see what happens here with Poatan. I still like the fight with Carlos Ulberg coming up. As a great potential prospect. I think Poatan's got to prove to me and the rest of the world with a matchup like Magomed Ankalaev. Shut this guy down. Stuff his takedowns. Work your own ground and pound. Just show us something from a guy who's willing to challenge you in a new area that we just don't see you ever in. And if you can verify that, if you can pass that test, and now we start talking about heavyweight. Now we start talking about the move up to be the first triple champ of all time, middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight against likely Tom Aspinall. Yeah, cycling back to the fight with Roundtree. I mean, the world is surprised with the amount of resilience, heart, determination. I like watching the vlogs this time around, seeing how focused he was and in a good space, you know, mentally, physically. Yeah, he looked like he had a little bit of a banger on his nose from his camp, but otherwise, I think both guys showed up, gave absolutely one hell of a show. That's your knockout bonus of the night. And it's also your performance of the night, right? Or fight of the night, I should say, rather. Yeah, that's your fight of the night. That's a double bonus Poetan. If it's 50, give the man 100. I mean, this guy is literally carrying the UFC on his back in terms of being the number one guy showing up, saving how many pay-per-views up to this point now? 5 or 6? Out of how many pro fights? The guy's 12-2 now. This is fucking ridiculous. Poetan is doing all the things that you need to do to reside as one of the greatest of all time to ever do it. In the MMA space is just wild. I want to see someone grapple him. I want to see him mix it. And then I'll have a way different opinion about him if he can handle like someone like Magomed Ankalaev, you know? Otherwise, these guys are just choosing to strike with him. I don't know why they're entertaining it. Well, I've never been a fucking wrestler, so I'm not going to do it now. Look at what Keem Buckley's doing. You just had a great example of a guy who thought he only could ever headhunt to win a fight via knockout, and he's dialing it in, using his physique and power as an advantage, cutting weight, having better cardio. I mean, Numansa is a great example of how Khalil could mix it better, especially for a size disadvantage.